in a
I
sense.
wasn't gonna go up there because he
It's like it's
Remember-
canceled it because he remembered he had this, but maybe
Like there's no
changed
answer.
his mind. I don't know.
So I made it to the one in Lawrence, Michigan on the 5th. That's like Van Buren County. It's down
I am
here.
not.
So
Trees.
it-
Mr. Vice Chair,
lots of good,
he's 5 minutes out.
Oh, okay.
lots of good content.
Started
So,
or?
Yeah, we could get started.
Yeah.
I can go through the first part of it. Okay, you have to bear with me. This is my first time doing this, so we can call to order. So that's our,
Call the meeting to order.
6:02.
she's got it. Oh, yeah, six. what is it?
6:02?
6, 3, call to order at 6:03. Then we do the pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And we're gonna, welcome Mary Dew to our new commissioner.
welcome, Mary.
Thank you, everyone. Good
Yeah.
to be here.
You don't know how delighted we are to have that seat
Oh.
filled.
That's good. That's good. It's been a while, right?
Yeah, yeah,
From DC for a while.
November?
November, yeah, that sounds
Yeah.
about right.
Yeah.
I feel like I heard through the grapevine that you were previously on the planning commission?
I was, yes, but it was a whole different planning commission.
Whole different group at that point. Yeah, we've had a lot of turnover. Cool,
Yeah.
cool. So what kind of background do you bring to the planning commission? Just.
Well, I basically, nothing formal by any means, but I have bought and sold, renovated like 9 homes over the years, over the
Okay.
last few decades. And that's really about it, just an interest in the community and just a general interest in public service.
Okay.
How long did you serve on the planning commission before?
I think it was about a year.
A year?
Okay.
Okay, yeah, very good.
Yeah, Laura was the chair
Yeah.
at the time. So, yeah, it was very different. It felt like we were working on the master plan forever, or well, on the ordinances forever.
Okay.
So you went through that process. So as we go through it now, you might have historical context. Of,
Possibly,
yeah, of why things are the way they are today, and
yeah,
that would be good.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
I'll share whatever comes to mind.
That will be a voice that will be an important part of that conversation. If
Okay.
you remember, if you have that kind of context as we're talking through stuff.
Okay, great.
Bring it up. Bring
Okay.
it to the table. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, we've talked about in the past, Mary, that with the turnover of the board, John is the only one sitting here right now that has more than a year.
And that's
So-
amazing.
Yeah,
Our
Amazing.
organizational memory is very thin.
So we're struggling.
Yeah,
We're
so
getting there.
it's nice to have someone
Yeah.
that has a little bit of experience sitting in
Some of
that
our
seat.
procedures are
okay.
Is this meeting being
rough
recorded?
around the
Yes.
edges.
Right there. I mean, for
On
Zoom.
video?
It's live.
Screen too, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Live stream, okay. I don't remember seeing that screen before. Okay.
So we do the roll call?
Mary Dew? Here.
Valerie Handy,
Here.
Ted Nelson,
Present.
John Truax.
Here.
Mike Slonsky, I'll excuse, John Kramer,
This
coming.
way.
That's it? All right, so we do our first public comment? Anybody got it?
Do you want to read the public comment note at the
Oh, am I
bottom?
supposed to read that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. For the public comment, any person wishing to address the planning commission may do so once per public comment period. Comments are limited to 3 minutes and shall be addressed to the chair and not individual commission members or others in the audience. This is a comment input option. The planning commission is not required to comment or respond to presenters' silence or non-response from the planning commission should not be interpreted as disinterest or disagreement by the planning commission. I guess I didn't have to do that first part.
My name is John LeBrun. I live at the north end of the county line, Betsy River Road. I've been there since 1981. I am here my comment is about the uncontrolled shooting that goes on Betsy River Road. I have called the Benson County Sheriff's Department, the Conservation Department, the State Police, and the 911 about the unlimited shooting that takes place on Betsy River Road. I've been informed by the 911 dispatcher that we did not have an ordinance in place that would disallow this resident to shoot as often as he wanted to during daylight hours. I was told that Inland Township does not have a restriction on shooting, the number of shooting, the number of shots, the number of people shooting when it's in a, I guess it would be called a legally safe area. When this family moved into this area, shortly after they moved in, they had a company come in and it looked like dig a foundation for a business, for a pole barn. They dug it down 4 feet down in a rectangular fashion and put all the dirt that they dug out around 3 sides of the foundation. And I'm calling it a foundation because that's what it looked like. They piled up the dirt and therefore it became legal for them to shoot there because of the background. The the operator on 911 told me that it's been inspected by the Conservation Department, the Sheriff's Department, and the State Police. And it fits into all the parameters of legally, safely shooting. So we in Inland Township have no ordinance against such a thing, no matter if it's next to the neighbor or not. No matter, we can't stop him from shooting. He has the right to shoot up until, just like the Benzie Sportsman's Club, which I'm a member of and have been for years. So I have complained. I came to the township meeting and complained. And I've talked to different law enforcement organizations about this. And there's nothing we could do about stopping this person from having him and his friends come over and shoot unlimited number of shots, different kind of weapons. It's not just handguns, it's long guns too. And I have a business, it's called John L. Sports. I have a federal firearms license. I am retired from the Marine Corps. I know I've been in battle in Vietnam. I know how many rounds are fired approximately. And this is in a neighborhood where there's little kids. When I was at the last meeting, there was another gentleman sitting in front of me who said that he was taking on, the planning commission was gonna talk about limiting so that we couldn't have any more of this circumstance take place. I know of nothing that's been done to restrict this from developing again by someone else.
Yeah, we've had discussions with that.
Well, we may have had, I am sharing with you that I have not been informed of anything that's changed in the township to limit somebody else from buying a piece of property next door to you and putting another shooting range in and them being able to shoot from daylight till dusk. And I just think it's wrong and it doesn't fit into Inland Township's plan. And I don't know anybody that would put up with this, but he has looked into it and legally he can do it. But something needs to be done especially at this being the planning board. It needs to be looked into and addressed.
Okay.
And,
Well, can we just, I don't want to interrupt you, John.
sure.
Yeah, that's past the 3 minutes, so. But, does anyone else have a comment?
I would like to ask him a quick
Sure.
question.
Okay.
Are you saying this is a shooting range that like multiple people are coming here and shooting, or is it the individual who owns the property that's doing the shooting? or both?
I'm informing you that the person that had this developed is shooting and having multiple amounts of his friends or acquaintances come to his property and shooting.
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
Different numbers at different times.
Thank you.
Okay, William Swartout, 16341 Brundage Road. I've had my property since 1973. I know this is the planning commission. I don't know if you get people are aware of it, but there's been, talks. This is from the Benzie paper about, during a January 13th meeting, talking about having a dual animal shelter from Benzie County and Grand Traverse. And there were 3 properties. The other 2 are not viable, but the one on Lake Ann Road and 31 is one they're looking at still. Talks are continuing. Back in 2022, when Paul Beechcraft was here, he had a committee and everybody on the board was pretty much on it. Paul Beechcraft, Clerk Worth, Treasurer Wilson, Miller, and Pelosi was there. And they talked about building a new, community center and fire station on that property. So they were working on it. And then, of course, Paul's not here anymore, so it got dropped by the wayside. I don't know if you're aware of all this. But I've been going to the Benzie County meetings and voicing my opinion, and the people I talk to in Inland Township, they're not for an animal shelter. I don't even know if you're even aware it's going on. It's been pretty quiet. It's been going on since 2025. And, and I've written a letter to the senator about it. He made a comment about, it sounded like a good idea. So I sent a letter to giving my 2 cents in there, John Bumstead. About the possibility of a regional shelter. He indicated there could be support for the idea. Well, I asked him not to support it, as the people of Inland Township that I speak to don't want an animal control center on the corner. They're gonna probably expand it to have horses and other animals and other stuff there. But I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but it's been going on since 2025. I'm doing everything in my power to support the people of Inland Township. It's my responsibility. And I'd like the planning commission to think about planning for a community center for the people of township. We don't want a joint venture, Benzie County, Grand Traverse Animal Control Center on the corner. Thank you very much.
Thank you for bringing that to our attention.
Yep.
Does the planning commission have any copies of his letters?
I do not.
I never heard anything about it.
Would you mind sending us a copy of the letters that you're circulating with the county that you've?
I'm not circulating anything with the county. I'm going to the meeting and I'm voicing my opinion just as I have here.
Oh, okay. I thought there was a letter that you had mentioned that you.
No, I sent to Senator
Article.
Bumstead.
Yep, and there was an
I
article.
asked him not to support the idea.
Excuse me. All right. Are we on public comment?
Yep.
We are.
And there's anyone else?
Anybody else for public comment?
Now, can we get back to John? Are we, cause he's about that shooting range. I mean, is there gonna be anything we can? Cause we've had complaints before,
Yeah, that's when I would have to research deeply.
right?
And
That was
I
the
don't know.
problem before, it
off
was,
the
it was
the
legal.
First time hearing of it.
We've had other complaints with that shooting range and.
Well, the problem, John, is that there was a gentleman sitting in front of me at a meeting, at a regular township meeting, who was newly appointed, or he wasn't elected, so he was appointed to look into regulating the township's codes on not allowing this to happen anymore. So we wouldn't have guys like me and the neighbors complaining about somebody's unlimited amount of shooting going on right next door.
I think that the appropriate, so there really is no law preventing anybody from shooting their rifles or their guns on their property, that I know of.
I don't know if we can
Anybody
make
else
an
aware of
ordinance against that.
Maybe an ordinance for later at night.
I was gonna say, if we put an ordinance out for the time of day type thing or something like that, I think we could do something like that, but again, I don't know that is anything we can do either.
I don't
I
know.
don't know if there's
I don't know.
anything at all.
Yeah,
Just
we're
to-
aware, and I
but, you
agree
know,
with you.
Anything to
The
be aware of.
point being,
But we'll have
if any of you
to keep working on it.
lived within a half a mile or a mile of where I live, a mile and a half from here, and went through what I go through 2 or 3 times a week, you would be bedazzled too. I mean, it's not something that it's just crazy. I mean, I belong to the Benzie Sportsman's Club. You'd all be.
It's the same, remember the guys earlier were here.
It's just ridiculous that we have this problem in the township. And I've gone and stopped and talked to him, and he is arrogant as all get out.
Sure,
All of his guests all cower away, but he comes up just like I'm not gonna say terms that make sense, but it really is ridiculous. And I understand
No, I get
that
it.
you legally can't do anything, but I thought
We'll have to
it's
see.
just.
We gotta
it's a
try.
shame.
Yeah, we gotta
There's gotta
try.
be something
No, I agree.
that, I mean, they came in there like they were gangbusters, like they were gonna throw a building up, and, you always think, well, good, we got more. I started when the 2-track getting back to the property wasn't even developed.
Sure.
And now we're paved,
Yeah,
natural gas.
Definitely.
What
Your
you're
areas grew up, yeah, your area grew.
So, but to
Like all our
have,
ours, yes, yeah.
and Bielheimer, who bought Weber's place way back in there, he said he still hears bullets zinging through the woods when he goes back there, and it's,
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know what we could do or not, but I know that it needs to be brought up to the attention of the board, and people need to know, because
We'll
it's just, and Terry and Chris is fighting cancer now, and she needs as much rest as she can get, but there's no consideration whatsoever, as far as I'm concerned, what you see done. And then on a Sunday afternoon, when you're trying to relax, the one day you might,
Yeah, I
it
can
just
see, I can never
goes
see.
on and on and on and on and on and on. And I know there was 2,500 rounds shot Sunday. And,
whoa,
Wow.
I mean,
that many?
easy.
2,500 rounds?
Oh, 2,500 rounds, pistols and rifles.
Yeah, you wouldn't think he'd be allowed to have other people.
That's
I heard he does
the
YouTube
other thing.
videos.
Okay, that's your property. You go
Yeah.
ahead and do that. But
Yeah.
he finally got him to pull off the road and off the shoulder and pull into the property. So he's
They're giving as much
giving
restrictions as
giving
they
as much
can.
room for the pedestrians and the cars and people walking their dogs. But nobody goes near it when they're shooting that much. But there's 4 to 5 other vehicles besides his.
See, I have neighbors that shoot as well, but I hear a clip or two. I don't.
And I
hear-
understand that.
It's not
But it's not
Listen, I'm telling you.
2,500 rounds. That is a lot of ammo.
Like my wife said yesterday, where does he get the money to be able to afford that much ammunition?
Yeah.
But
I don't know, well, we do have ordinances, when it becomes, a problem or, like, if it's, your neighbors.
Valerie, who do I talk to about?
Yeah, we'll definitely have to do
yeah,
something.
it needs to be addressed. Anybody sitting here that had an
I
occurring.
don't know if
No,
that would
we
do
can
all.
look them up in our
We can?
ordinance, yeah.
So that's
See if
what I
we
wanna
have an
know.
ordinance, or, we need to do research on
we need to
both
do
of
these
these
special
matters.
uses.
And I was told 6 months ago, the guy in front of me was just elected or appointed to the board and he was gonna take care of it.
Affecting
I don't know,
neighbors.
did you catch the gentleman's name?
No, but it was recorded
Oh.
Guy right before
and it
me.
was, Ben was the chair at the time, so.
All we can do
Do
is
you
could
happen
be
to know
looked
if
up.
the township board has
try.
heard of
try.
this
Yes.
shooting?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, we'll
Okay,
do
so
some
this
more
is something on their
It's
investigation.
not
radar
just
as
me
well.
that.
No, you're the first one that came here.
Township board. Okay.
Yep.
That's all it
Okay.
came about last summer, so.
Thank you
I
both
understand.
for being
I
here
would
and
not like
bringing
that either.
items to our
That's my-
attention.
It's just,
And I second that.
Yeah.
Thank you for your
Thank you
input.
for
It's very
being here.
important to us here.
But we do need to do more research and figure out what, you know, what we have within our control, what we
Right.
can do as the
Yeah, I don't know
township
what we can do,
versus,
but we
you
can
know,
look into to see what we can do.
today or in the future,
Yeah.
There is such a thing about being neighborly too. for
yeah,
crying out
there,
loud. I
that
mean,
is,
geez,
that has
that's
been
a
swept
lot
under the rug by
of
this guy.
Yeah, it's,
Man,
they just got a small piece of property. It's gonna ruin it for everyone else.
any other public comments? I'd like to move to approve our agenda.
I would second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Adopted. Approval of April 2026 minutes.
I would move to approve the minutes as presented.
I will second that.
You're okay with us just,
All in favor?
I think Mary wants to.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay,
Take a
no,
quick
I,
look at
I
it.
will just kind of defer to you guys since that was before
Yeah,
my
I didn't know
time.
if she wanted to.
All right. I'm sorry. I didn't
No,
mean to do
no.
that.
No, it's
That's
no
okay.
worries.
Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, needs your signature then?
And carried.
Thank you.
Do we have any conflicts of interest?
None here.
Moving forward, unfinished business, appointments of chair, vice chair, and secretary tabled from April. You want me to bring this up now?
It's on the agenda.
It's on the agenda.
I would like to make a couple of things clear here. I'm in this chair because there wasn't anybody else that day we were in here. We've gone through 4 chairs in just the few short months that I've been here, and I was very happy to fill in, and I would continue to do so. Except I have someone who would do a much, much better job at this than I, and her name is Valerie Handy.
Okay.
And I talked this over with Ted earlier today to make sure he was all right with it. Valerie and I talked last week about this, and she needed to be assured that we were gonna have a secretary that would record. Ted would be able to do those duties for us. And so in this shift of things, I would like to appoint Valerie Handy to the chair. I would like to appoint Ted as secretary, and I would like to put myself in as vice chair. And is there, what else do I do now, Ted? Do I ask for everybody's vote on that, or?
Yeah, a motion.
So you move
Support that
to,
slate.
yep, you move to support that slate,
I want to move to support that slate.
and I would second that. So then, do we have
Okay.
any discussion?
Oh, I'm good with that.
I'm good with it.
Yeah, so the only discussion is there might be a thought about whether someone who serves on the board and the planning commission can serve as secretary. So,
That brought us documentation.
yeah, it is allowed under the Michigan
makes it
Planning and
allowed.
Enabling Act.
Oh,
Sweet.
So
So if you look under
Takes care of that.
number 1,
Right.
the second sentence there.
An ex officio
I like
member
that idea.
of the planning commission is not eligible to serve as chairperson. So only chairperson.
All right. So, all in favor of that? Aye?
Aye.
Aye. That's carried, so next month, Valerie, you're gonna chair this thing. I will be here on time.
Actually, it starts immediately.
It
Yeah, it
starts
starts
immediately.
immediately.
Yep.
With Robert's Rules of Order, it starts immediately. So Val is now the chair, you are now.
I'm the chair now.
All right, you're out of here.
Okay.
All right, so, we can move on from that one now. Discussion of public notice for special use permits.
John.
Yeah.
Did that already?
Oh, that's right, you're,
No.
yeah, that'd be Valerie's got to do that.
We're gonna do the discussion of public notice for special use
He's
permits.
taking over now.
I'm gonna take over from you.
Thank you very much.
So we've got a couple different items in our packet related to this. One is information from Ted, that he did some research to help us understand what our public notification ordinances are, what our rules are, as far as noticing before a special use permit is discussed and or voted on. And he's also got a section of the Michigan Zoning Enabling Act regarding public notices. This was also something that was brought up. I mentioned that I went to the Michigan Township Association Planning and Zoning training on the 5th down in Lawrence, Michigan. This was also something that was touched on quite a bit there, that when we do have special use permits, we have to have a public hearing to hear comments before we make a decision. So in this packet, we've got 2 applications that have already been reviewed by this commission that will need to be revisited at this point. We need to do this properly. Now that we know better, we can do
Just
better.
we'll go back and have them come back in.
We'll go back and have them come back in
Very
and
good.
say, thank you for coming the first time.
Melanie, were there?
And to give you an update, so our zoning administrator, also in the packet here, there you go.
The second
Sent
section.
2 emails out this past week. He's, and also included, he put together the notices that will go in the paper. The clerk will send those over to local newspaper tomorrow. So those public notices will go out. So there's one for each of the special use permits that you have a copy of.
Okay.
There's also a third one for a change in zoning that will come to the June Planning Commission. So
He's the zoning one.
he's done it. So we'll be moving forward.
I have a question on the first of these special use permits. For the address, it just says parcel B on or highway. Shouldn't it have a physical address on there?
There's one.
Well, it was vacant land.
Yeah.
It's just, guy just bought the vacant land.
Property information.
Okay, it doesn't have an address?
No,
I'm just trying to
so-
figure out where it is.
Yeah, so we just have a
Probably does, but-
parcel number at this point.
I don't think you get an address, actually get an address until you,
It should have an
it
address.
probably does, yeah.
Which one? This is the vehicle.
So we can check on
I'm
that.
just curious where it is.
He's got the
Right
first
past
one.
the trailer, so is it just past the trailer park? Just before Holbert Road.
Oh, there's nothing developed there, is there? That's why there's no
No.
address.
Yeah, it's just
Once he
vacant.
applies for electricity, they'll get an address at that point.
Yeah, it's just-
Okay.
it's
That's
just
why he
vacant.
did those.
Gotcha.
Good question.
I had never seen that before. Okay.
And you may also notice in Mike's email to us that part of that public notification is that we need to have a mailed notice directly to all parcels within 1,000 feet.
That's what I was after.
So that's included, the affected parcel numbers are the parcels that would be within 1,000 feet. So those other properties are being corresponded with directly,
They aren't being notified?
being notified.
Yes.
Yep,
Yeah, per Mike's email, yes, they are.
for his email.
So did Mike send those out?
That's what I'm guessing. We can
Mike,
clarify, confirm.
yeah, I don't know where he is on the actual mailing to the people within 1,000 feet. Mike did compose the
Okay, for the
public
special-
notice that's going to.
Oh.
Afterwards.
As long as they get in the mail, I guess, is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Now that we know what we gotta do here.
Backtracking.
Okay.
We just didn't know, yeah, we didn't know.
Can they both be heard in the same special
I'll
hearing?
recommend.
Yeah.
Dialing
I
when
think
he's-
it's-
I don't know if you can ask him where he is.
It would be just like this.
So what was the?
They would have to come.
The other one was the
To the
cemetery,
meeting.
wasn't it?
That was not an actual application. That was a, hey, how do you feel about
So
this?
now it's gonna take a couple
What do you
months
think
before
might
people
happen when we finish cross all of our Ts and dot all of our Is with the state? So there were quite a few steps in that process.
Okay.
I had the same thought about the cemetery. So there was some folks that wanted to put in a family cemetery as well that we've seen in the recent past. That was the beginning of a special use discussion. It was not an actual application because they didn't have like permits from the health department and
or any of
like
that
they
stuff.
had a whole bunch of stuff that they needed
So
to
if he
do
doesn't
first.
go through with that, we have to do a hearing.
Yes, we would need to do a hearing in
He
order to.
hasn't even came
allow
back
that.
with nothing yet.
Right, right.
So
So
then, the other one then was the campground at the church.
campground at the church, yeah.
So no, so those two will come back in and we'll review those again after we've done all this other stuff. Perfect, all right. It makes me feel better.
So now we know, and we can get a more clear process nailed down of, you know, when this form comes in, when this application comes in, we do these things. And when we do this, then we do those things. And we can work on that.
Yep.
Any other thoughts or discussion on the special land use permits agenda item?
I'm good on all that.
Great, so then that moves us down to 9C, which is the second review of our capital improvement plan. So this is the second time we have had this document in front of us. And last time, I don't believe we had any additional comments. I don't know if you received any via email.
No, the only comment I would say is an update to you from the board. The board directed the fire chief to secure bids for new apparatus.
Okay.
So likely in the appendices where it says for the tanker replacement 2029 to 2030, it'll probably be moved up a year if it's approved by the board to 2028 to 2029.
Because that would be on the timeline of actual delivery?
Correct.
Okay, because if
Yes.
he's bidding now,
Yeah,
then
it's
he's
about
got
it's about a
two-year
two-year.
wait.
Yep,
Okay,
it's 2-year wait.
that's understandable.
Other than that, there's no changes from.
Give everybody just a minute, but if there's no other additions or changes or anything that we want to update in this, then I would accept a motion to approve as presented.
I'll motion to.
So I'd like to, so with this property, 30 acres next door, is this what's in this?
Yeah, so I don't
What's our
know what
plan?
page is on it, which page it is, but it is
It's in here.
in there.
here.
And it's-
Buildings and facilities.
Yeah, I remember reading it, I remember seeing it. Just wondering what,
Station.
So under section 3B on page 2 at the bottom,
Inland Township owns approximately 30 acres of vacant land intended for potential future development of a township hall and/or fire department facility. No active development is planned within this 5-year CIP capital improvement plan period. The township may pursue facility needs assessment, conceptual planning, site facility studies, site feasibility studies, property preservation, and maintenance. Those are the items that the township may pursue.
So those things all have to happen if you're
Nothing's
gonna
gonna
move
go there,
forward with, you know, the township.
nothing's gonna happen there. And those, we do some other things, so.
As far as that land goes, when I last left off, this was a while ago and totally different people, but they were testing the soil over there. Did that come back? Are there any available breakdown of the soil? Because it had previously been an orchard and they were concerned that there might have been, a lot of fertilizer on the land. We at one point had talked about a community center and a community garden, but then there was a question as to whether that land should be gardened in, or if it might be contaminated. I just thought that might be something to take a look at, which with looking at use for that land,
So that would be part of,
where are we at with the soil?
so if I may,
site
John,
feasibilities would be part of that.
Under that,
Yes,
okay.
you know, that would be.
There may be an existing study is what I'm saying. We may not wanna have to
Oh,
do
so
it again.
redo it again, right, okay, all right.
so the
We'll do
board
that.
did undertake a study. The DNR performed a study of soil samples out there. I'm happy to share those with the board. I'll put it in the board packet for next month. But everything with regards to any arsenic, heavy metals and all that fell within the safe parameters.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah,
But I will make a note and put that in the next board packet. But great question, Mary.
Thanks.
That's all good.
Okay. Any other, discussion? Let's see, you moved. Did we have a second?
I'll second.
Oh.
Well, I'm just gonna
I guess
double
John did.
check. Mary, did you have anything else?
I'm going to abstain at this point from voting on it though, because this is the first time I'm seeing this.
Okay.
So I may have other questions, but if you guys are moving to approve it today, then I may not be of much use, having not seen the whole thing.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got a motion and a second. We've
Yep.
had some discussion. Let's go ahead and vote then. Mary's gonna abstain.
Yep.
All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
And no opposed, but we've got an abstention. So then that passes.
It was John C. and Ted.
John C. and Ted, yes. Wonderful.
All right, so
So then.
capital improvement has been,
Capital improvement plan is moving forward. So the next step on a capital improvement plan is now to send this to the township board.
That would be correct.
And then the township board offers any comments or questions, or
They're gonna noodle it.
they're gonna noodle it and
Yep.
then maybe come back to us with more information.
Have
May see
different
this again.
departments already given you input on this?
Yeah, I mean, some of it, a lot of it's based on, our assets that we have, and then, yeah, just talking to different folks and whatnot.
Fire
I mean,
department?
we can pick on 30 acres over here for a moment. I mean, that's all I've heard since I've been in the township, that's what it was intended for, was a fire department and, township hall. So, unless someone says otherwise, that's what should be in the capital improvement plan.
if we build that over there, then what do we do with this property?
Well, I mean, and I think that's why what's listed first is a feasibility study.
Right.
So, I mean, this capital improvement plan is a plan. That way you start going down the road of pursuing that. I mean, I could tell you for the last year, we've just talked about 30 acres down there. What are we gonna do? There's gonna be this building, that building, and there's a pipe behind us over there and whatnot. So this capital improvement plan starts the process.
Starts the
What are we
process.
gonna do with the resources that we have, both in land, but also the financial resources that we're bringing in?
Right. There really should be a discussion of this property as well. There should be a feasibility study in this one as well. And so I just wanna make sure that the planning commission brings that up on the time, right? It just can't go without, it needs to be looked at as well. Only because I'm in this business, and I know. I could be wrong, but you gotta look at them. All right, so
So then we're on to item 9D, which is
Yes.
our discussion of data centers. I don't have additional new information for this. I don't know if you had additional.
I do.
Okay,
So, I spoke to a firm.
Ted, before you start,
Yes, sir.
could I have a brief description of a data center? Without going into a 3-page booklet, just give me a rough idea.
Yeah,
What is a data
it's
center?
it's a large building with a lot of computers that stores everything that we send up to the cloud.
Okay.
The cloud is a data center. They, draw a lot of energy. A lot of water, a lot of electricity. So.
Are these the data centers that are necessary to fire AI, artificial
correct.
intelligence?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and that is one of the biggest drivers of data centers right now. So,
Go ahead with your thing, thank you.
yeah, but let me follow up
Okay.
with that line of thought though. At the Michigan Township Association Conference in Traverse County
Bless you.
Excuse me.
4 weeks ago today, they talked, data centers was a big topic. And they spoke of one that's 250 acres down in Saline, which is by Ann Arbor. It just
Hundred
is,
and 50 acres?
yes.
That's been an ongoing fight with the local residents, opposing for the most part. And that one in particular is Oracle, you know, the big company, OpenAI, and I believe DTE. They're all in on that together. And they're kind of trying to supersede the residents at that one. I've been following that for a while. They say that the data centers use a closed loop system with all the because they need an incredible amount of water. And they say, oh, it's no threat to the environment because it's a closed loop. But my understanding, and I'm no expert, but my understanding is that there is they've got to put off pollution, and where does that go? And also taking all that water and taking all that power can tap the water and the power for the local residents. And there's concern about the electrical costs going up for the residents as well. So that's just my 2 cents on that.
So, at the conference and in the article that I gave everyone a copy of, the direction from the Michigan Township Association is first, institute a moratorium. And then secondly, work on your ordinance. So the moratorium would prohibit, one, if they came tomorrow and knocked on our door and we had a moratorium, that moratorium would prohibit it until from it happening, and then the ordinance would help. And again, ordinance, be mindful, we can't be exclusionary.
Right.
Can't write an ordinance that says no data centers. But we can put parameters on what the data center is. I can share with you, I saw the planning commission chair yesterday from Elmira. They're working on their moratorium right now. So that's the answer to your question. What I started to talk about is, so I spoke with McKenna last Friday. That's a firm that looks at zoning ordinances to make sure our zoning ordinance is aligned with our master plan that's currently in the draft phase. And he highly recommended that our master plan have some language about data centers in there. So I reached out to Sarah, our consultant, and presently our draft master plan does not have any language about a data center. So we should probably chat about it as a commission, because the timing's right. The master plan is it's about probably in the middle of the 63-day review right now. So we have time to address it.
Well, I think
If
it's
we want
imperative
to.
that we have something in there. I mean, it's brand new, I get it, but we can't just ignore it. And I think the moratorium is the perfect immediate solution to this until we can get out and talk to some people and figure out what the township wants to do. And so can we put that on for next month?
Mary.
I was just gonna ask, what would need to happen, did you research that, to institute a moratorium? We would just have to come up with language, or,
Yes, and-
or did the township's MTA offer a
So
template?
there is sample language on it, and that's what I would advise too, would be my recommendation, is it's on our agenda for next month for
So
moratorium.
in that MTA training, the way I heard what was said is that the moratorium has a time frame on it. So it's only got like 6 months
6
to
months.
figure it out. So you want to be a little strategic in when you put the moratorium on, because you've got to actually have the capacity to then within the next 6 months come up with that ordinance,
Gotcha.
because it's unlikely that if we got somebody that approached us while the moratorium was underway, and then they weren't able to do request their permit at the end of the moratorium time, it's unlikely that we would be able to get an extension on that moratorium.
Good point.
We would have to go with whatever's done at that time and
So
allow them to apply.
let's just play by the rules then and do it. Let's set the moratorium, let's set up our 60 days, and let's get it done and get it in place before this thing gets out of hand for everybody, because it's coming.
Yeah.
And we need something in place.
And we do have some facilitation ability. The board had approved the ability to have a consultant help us with our ordinances.
So the board approved money.
Money for it.
So that's where, when I was at the conference 4 weeks ago, I met with some of the vendors there that offer those services. And we
Okay.
had a conversation with one of the gentlemen last week about what his, so to switch topics. His recommendation, actually, the three vendors that were there recommended an audit of our zoning ordinances. Since our zoning ordinances were approved in 2020, they're likely pretty good. It's not like they were 2005
Mhm.
or anything like that. So his recommendation is do an audit, see which ordinances may need to be changed or updated to match the master plan. And so I just spoke with them Friday. I just need to understand how much that is. Then we've
We're
got,
gonna review all of our zoning laws?
they would do an audit.
So yes, all of them.
On that topic, so this zoning ordinance right here, this is the 2020 version. No changes have been made since then.
I think the only other one is there's a blight one, there's a blight ordinance and a park and recs ordinance that's currently under legal review.
Okay, because yeah, when I was on the planning commission previously, we were going through this pretty extensively and noting there were a ton of changes, but I guess they never got implemented.
When was that?
That would have been, when did you start? A year ago? What's that?
There's no.
Nothing, the answer is no, nothing was done.
Nothing got changed.
Okay.
With the shooting. It was-
2 years ago,
All right.
2 years.
Okay.
ago.
Okay.
Do you think?
Well, that's why we gotta get somebody.
We
to
spent
review
lots
it.
of meetings.
Going.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We were actually
for
meeting
bringing this
twice a
up, Mary.
month.
get it reviewed and get it.
So then I wonder if that information is then in previous minutes. I don't know if it's worth going back that far or if it's worth having the
Just-
conversations here and then you could maybe bring that perspective
Okay,
from your old notes, if you have old notes.
I will take a look.
yeah.
I'm not sure. I
See,
know
we got
Laura
some-
was great about keeping notes and then she was giving stuff to Jim Weller, who was the zoning administrator at the time. And they had like a compilation of all we had gone through the different sections with the different classifications. You know, one day we were on rural residential and then we were in forest and then we went through ag and everything from setbacks to, you know, like numbers and minimum wall sizes for builds and all of that. It was just a lot of work, so I'm not saying I'm, you know, that I'm beholden to it or by any means. I'm just surprised that none of that made it in, you know, but,
So you saw some stuff that definitely should have been changed?
what's that?
You saw some stuff that definitely should have been revised?
At the time, yeah, we had seen a lot of things that we had revised, some language we had revised, and then we were also working with the master plan person and, but I guess, you know,
If I may,
We have a second public comment option after our new business, so thank you.
okay, I'll take a look and see if I have any notes to bring to the table. If not, we can just start over.
Do we have any other thoughts on data centers at this point? Discussion on the data center items? We need to start working on that.
I would
So
only
put that
share
on
the thought that I think that this, yes, this is something very important
yeah.
for us to be
Prepare
aware
for.
of and,
Just never know. Here at 31.
yeah, and our beautiful natural resources here in the township, we gotta protect.
Right. Yep.
Oh,
I
I do
agree.
research on that, just push on,
Okay,
okay?
okay.
We need to get that in.
Okay, so then we'll move on to our new business, which is the first review of the land use checklist. And these are being presented to us specifically to make it a little bit easier to know and understand when we need to do those public hearings and the mailings to the properties within 1,000 feet, those kinds of things. That's my understanding.
Yep.
So this is the first time we're seeing these documents. So this is just kind of a first read to see if there's anything we need to discuss in them.
And did this come from the lawyer or who wrote this?
This came from Ted originated?
Yep, so this came about when we had a discussion last month that, you know, we didn't know we were supposed to do public notices to, what are we supposed to do?
I think that's in the ordinance too.
Well, without a doubt,
Yeah, it is,
100%.
it is, yep.
But, so what I thought, what would help me, this is what would help me. Having a checklist when a special use permit comes to the planning commission, okay, we have special use permit, 1, 2, 3, 4. Walk right through, okay, what do we need to do? And so I just went through the zoning ordinances and this by no means is an end all, but it's, I think, a good start. And it's something, at least for me, so I put two together, one for the zoning administrator, it's more comprehensive. Zoning administrator has a lot more things to do, whether it's, a special use permit or a zoning, change. And then I put one just for the planning commission. So really, just for site plan reviews, special use permits. And for me, I just walked through of what would help me the next time we have one come to the commission. Because frankly, I didn't have a checklist and I just was relying on, here's what we do.
Yeah.
So,
And I think this would help as well. Our conversations in the past, when these folks did come with the applications, our conversation was a little meandering, as far as not having a specific packet of information that was the same to know, okay, this has been, what type of zone is this parcel? And what does it say on our map versus what they're asking us to do, and those kinds of, those kind
Yeah.
of basic
But that piece
parameters.
clarifies that. though.
This clarifies
It
that,
does.
yeah.
And so this
yeah.
really.
So this document will end up in the ordinance is the plan.
I think this is meant to be kind of a working document that would be like our cover sheets when it comes in front of us. So something to help between staff and the commission, make sure that we're checking all the boxes before we're actually considering the application.
Because there are checklists in here for some of the things like that
Okay.
already, right?
I didn't see them for,
They're gonna
The
refer
new
to.
one's
there's
special use.
168 pages.
Right,
I
right.
doubt that.
Yeah,
this
because
is in
there are
there.
some in here where they come in with a special use and there are actual sections where they have a checklist that you're supposed to go through and everybody votes yay, yay, nay.
Yeah.
nay.
Yeah, and that
This
is
is-
a good
So maybe
step.
those get combined in there.
And Mary, to that end, in looking over past minutes, like when you were there, the minutes included going through each step of the special use permit
Yeah,
and then the particular ordinance. So,
Yeah.
did it meet this? Did it meet that? Did the,
I'm saying it might be good to have this in
I
there.
hear you.
That way it'll all be standard and it won't.
Go into
It'll help
Bunch
the
of
the board.
ordinances.
I put
Yeah.
it together for my own use.
Just
So figured it'd be
a lot
great.
right here.
And
This
then
is
again,
really
I think it's a
helpful.
good start.
Oh, you
So my ask would be, take a look at it. What do
Yeah,
you think? Put it on the agenda for next month, second reading.
Yep, for second reading next month. My initial thought is I want actual check boxes.
Okay.
For
That's easy. That's
Switch
easy.
some bullets. I want actual check boxes on.
That's
I
easy.
know that was
That's
coming.
just me being a little
That helps.
attentive, so, okay. Any further discussion on these land use checklists for today? These will be on our next agenda as a second read. Okay, sounds good. That brings us to our second public comment. Mr. LeBron, did you have another comment you wanted to share with us?
Just the fact that in all the years that I've attended these, every time there's going to be a change, the change seems to be swept under the rug because of everyone putting in their 2 cents worth instead of following through with the main issue. i.e., when we talked about following through with the shooting range, nothing was done to follow through with it. You say you have a 63-day time period for a master plan, or I'm probably getting all my wording construed or missaid, but there's a time frame when somebody, for instance, the piece of property that was developed and made into a shooting range, that wasn't followed through as to what was gonna be put up in there. Somebody had to give the approval for that land to be developed. How it was developed, somebody had to give the okay, if I understand this properly. When he wanted work done on that piece of property, there was a land use permit had to be done. And something had to be said that was gonna be done to that property. He didn't say he was gonna have a shooting range done. He had to say something was going to go into that land. What was followed through with that? I don't understand. He didn't say shooting range. He didn't say he was gonna have a pole barn put there. Where was the ball dropped in that development of that piece of property? Somebody should have followed through with it. When I come to these meetings and somebody tells me that they're gonna follow through with, okay, that got through, but we're not gonna let that happen again in Inland Township. There's been nothing done to my satisfaction or to anybody else's to see that we can do anything to try to keep the peace in the neighborhood. If you know what I mean. I'm not the first one that's come to these meetings in Inland Township and complained about this issue.
Sir, can you answer a question for him? Do you know if he's charging money for people to shoot there?
I do not know. He won't even come to my truck and talk to me anymore, which is probably good.
Does he live on the property or just shoot on the property?
He has a home. He had property next to his home, which he must own, like a semi-basement cut out. All the dirt was put up in piles to the sides. And he's got targets setting all over in there. I'm gonna put in a blight ordinance because it looks like blight to me, because he's got targets setting all over. And I have the ability to be able to do that, and I will send them to Mike Zelinski, who has to follow up on my blight complaint, because it looks like trash everywhere, but he must own the property.
And then my second question, where is this located again? I'm sorry.
Mile and a half, the Benzie County, Grand Traverse County line. So a mile and a half east of here, and at the end of the road,
Which road?
Betsy River Road, it's Betsy River Road,
But north of 31?
north of 31,
And north of Fewens.
north of Fewens. That road only goes a half mile, it stops in my driveway. He's halfway up on the west side, of course, in Benzie County side. He's got dirt piles, it's very obvious where they shoot. He's got dirt piles on three sides of the, looks like a half basement dugout.
So if you were to go from here and
You go a
take
mile and a half.
31, you'll take a left on Betsy River Road.
Correct.
You'll
You
go
go
north
north.
of Fewens, so it'll be on the right or on the left?
It would be on the left side, that's Benzie County. On the right side is Grand Traverse
Oh,
County.
right. Okay, I gotcha. Okay.
And when you get halfway down, you look on the left, the Benzie County side, and you'll see dirt piles. And then you'll see stands where targets are set all over in this basement. Half basement.
There could be concerns about lead poisoning.
But my point is a comment, and I know I only have 3 minutes, but the point is, nobody in this county, no matter where you live, would not be concerned.
Yeah, there's a difference between dropping a couple clips and emptying 2,500 rounds. There's a difference there.
And
That's,
anybody that knows me knows that I know 2,500 rounds. John, I mean, besides having a federal firearms license for over 30 years, I've experienced, retired from the Marine Corps. I know when I'm talking about numbers, I know what I'm talking about, and it's ridiculous. So I don't know if he's charging people, but he has enough people coming there that it makes Benzie County Sportsman's Club sound like rookies.
so I want you to know that we are gonna look into this, and I will get back to you. We will get back to you, one of us will, and let you know what we find out.
You just let Rose
We'll do
build.
what we can do there, but we don't know that we can do anything. But to answer and just to clarify that we will look into this, we'll let you know if there's something that we can do or not, one way or the other.
And I understand.
And I'll also
We're
give you where I
in a
can,
tough situation.
we can also tell you where information comes from as well.
We need to talk to one of them ordinance experts. That's who we need to talk to.
That just, kinda.
Yeah, we just, yeah, right now, we just don't know, so
Right.
we need to find
But
somebody.
and I'm at the end of my rope,
Lead us.
I'm 78
I
next
understand that.
month, so
I wouldn't enjoy that either.
But But there's people with kids, and dogs, and they're walking down the road. And, I never thought it'd be that developed and that nice, but I worked hard to get it that way. I mean, I was the one that walked and got the natural gas down there. I was petitioning them to get the pavement done. And it's nice, and I want it to stay nice, but this guy, he will not listen. He has no care for anybody else. He's just, and I know none of the vehicles that go there are familiar to me whatsoever. So, and I get around. I'm real active with the veterans groups, the Disabled American Veterans, the Veterans of Foreign Wars, the American Legion. There's no respect. There's no respect for your view.
And how long has this been happening?
2 years, a couple of years.
We can't control what past commissions have done or not done. We can only control what we do from here. So thank you for bringing this to our
I
attention.
understand,
Both
I
of these
appreciate it.
matters.
I will continue to keep coming
Yeah.
and let you know, but as one good neighbor to another, it's ridiculous. It truly is. And as you said, John, 20, 40, 60 rounds.
That's
It
tough.
doesn't cease. It's hours.
Yeah, that would be annoying.
And I love to shoot.
Right.
But I go all the way over to Benzie Sportsman's Club, the other end of the county.
Thank you. Was there any additional
Yeah,
public comment on second round here?
This work session meeting was, this is a township document,
Okay.
Wayne Township document. And it was dated, May 24th, 2022 at 11 a.m. Where they had this meeting for the, trying to put together some stuff, and they're talking about pole barns and offices, 5 offices, conference room, bathrooms, meeting room. But I can confirm the Eagle report. I was at a Benzie County meeting, voicing my opinion. When the county administrator, Katie Zeitz, had told the board she had the Eagle report on the property and that it was okay, safe. So I can verify that. Thank you for your attention on this matter. It's important to the community. That's why we're here, to support the community.
Yeah. Thank you for taking the time tonight.
Thank you.
And thank you for your input, both.
Thank you.
Was there any additional public comment? Did you? No? Okay. Then that, brings us to item 12. Any other items to come before the commission? Okay. Sounds good. Hearing none, then I'd, propose a motion. I'd accept a motion to adjourn. Ted? Ted moves to adjourn.
I'll second.
Okay, go ahead, Mary. You take
Mary.
it. You take it.
I'll let Mary,
get it.
Mary, and with that, we're adjourned.
All right,
Thanks all very much.
Thank you. Oh, good work. Thank you.